Aurora, why exactly are you storming out like that? Don't you have any respect for your elders? That was extremely rude. You up and left before we even finished making lunch. Didn't your mother ever teach you some basic manners? You wouldn't treat the Queen of England that way, would you? I see you don't have any manners at all, do you? I could tell you're pretty much a lost cause, and that's how you treat your future mother-in-law?
I thought that would be better than messing around with the crazy stuff you were asking me to do. Honestly, it felt like some kind of bizarre initiation ritual.
Crazy? Really? I was only trying to teach you some valuable life skills here, young lady. And that's how you repay my hospitality. This isn't some kind of fraternity hazing, you know. I was only trying to teach you how to be a decent wife to my son. Someone who could actually contribute to the household.
Wanting me to dice onions with a blindfold on is going to teach me how to be a better wife? That's absurd. I swear the only thing I almost cut off was my own sanity. I think you were hoping I'd cut my finger off just to prove some weird point.
I was trying to train you for the future, child. Don't you want to be a good wife someday? What are you going to do when you have your kids crying their heads off upstairs and a pot of boiling stew on the stove? A decent wife should be able to multitask like a champion, keep her eye on the children, and make dinner at the same time. If you can't even cut an onion without looking at it, how are you going to be a decent wife and mother? Honestly, it worries me.
That's ridiculous. Modern families don't live like that anymore. Besides, isn't that what husbands are for? They can help out around the house too, you know?
I can't believe you. You tricked my son into marrying you, and you're not even going to be a decent housewife. Is that what you promised him? A life of takeout and dirty dishes? I raised Oscar to have a wife who could take care of him, not some lazy gold digger.
A housewife? Is that all you think a woman can be? I have a job, Josie. I work 8 hours a day just like everyone else. I may not be some socialite who lunches at expensive cafes, but I contribute just as much to the household as Oscar does.
Doing what? Working part-time at some minimum wage job? Stocking shelves at a supermarket or something? I know you come from a poor family, Aurora. Oscar told me so. I can only imagine the best you could do was stocking shelves. Or maybe running the register somewhere, if you're lucky. But let's face it, that's hardly a career, is it?
Pardon me? Are you judging me based on my job? That's incredibly insensitive.
Your parents are poor, aren't they? Oscar told me so. And he told me that when you took him to meet your parents, they served him macaroni and cheese for dinner. What kind of family raises their daughter on nothing but processed food?
No, they didn't. You must have misheard what Oscar told you. They're a perfectly lovely family, and they raised me with good values. They may not have the same bank account as yours, but that doesn't mean they're any less deserving of respect.
Well, that's what he said. And besides, that should be the least of your worries when it comes to them.
Are you saying Oscar was talking bad about my family? Because if he was, then maybe I need to reevaluate a few things about my relationship with him. If he can't even stand up for my family, then what does that say about him?
He wasn't talking bad. He was simply stating facts. He told me a lot about them, and about you, about how you're a worthless wife who sits at home sponging off of him. And you won't get out and work no matter how much he tells you to.
What? He said that?
Once he's got a bright future, he's going to do amazing things. I know because he's my son. He has my blood in him. He's starting up a new company. He's already doing over $3 million in sales a year. And he just bought me a new house. You should thank your lucky stars he married someone like you. He could do so much better than you. Do you not think you should at least get out and try and earn your keep?
I should get out and earn my keep? That idiot couldn't live without me.
I can't believe he married a woman like you. I don't know what the heck he was thinking. I don't want a woman with no common sense giving birth to any of my grandchildren.
Well, you know what? I'd be the one ashamed to have any of Oscar's children. I would hate for any of them to turn out like you. I'd feel sorry for them if they did. And with your DNA in them, there's a good chance they would.
I was thinking the same thing about you. If a brainless, penniless woman gives birth to more brainless, penniless children, it's not going to benefit society in any way.
Now you've crossed the line. It looks like this conversation isn't going anywhere. Good day.
I see. So as soon as things don't go your way, you just run away, huh? It seems like on top of everything else, you don't have a backbone either. That's just the case. You divorce my son now and stop wasting our time.
Don't you worry. I'm going to have a talk with Oscar right now.
Yeah, right. You're scared to divorce him? I know you're just clinging on to him for his money. I've already told him now I want you gone. Now I'm telling you.
You might just get what you want, but hold your horses. I'm going to talk to Oscar about this and then decide. Oscar, what the heck is going on here? What have you been feeding your mom about yourself and our relationship? Did you take one look at the state of the break room after her visit and know something was wrong?
Oh, so you heard about that, huh? Look, I know things got a little out of hands.
What? So it's true then. Now I want to hear straight from you, no more sugarcoating. What twisted version of our lives have you been spinning for your mother?
I'm sorry, Aurora, but I kind of told my mom that I was the owner of your company. I panicked, okay? She started poking holes in everything I said about my job, and before I knew it, I lied through my teeth.
You told her what? Why would you do that, Oscar? I'm the one who hired you, aren't I? I'm the one who took a chance on you, and this is how you repay me? By making me look like some trophy wife who doesn't even deserve a real job?
I figured you'd find out eventually, and I never intended to lie about everything like that. But, you know, my mom's kind of a walking nightmare on high heels. She's got her own view of reality, one that revolves solely around appearances and keeping up with the Joneses.
That's for sure. I'm surprised it took this long for me to meet Mrs. Perfect Son.
And she's really judgmental of other people. She grew up in a prissy environment, surrounded by silver spoons and disdainful looks. Her parents were the picture of wealth and privilege, and they instilled that same snobby attitude in her. I swear she hates everyone except me. Maybe because I'm her only child? Maybe that's why she dotes on me so much. But that doesn't mean there aren't strings attached.
I don't care about her warped perception of the world right now. I'm asking about you. Why the hell were you telling her all those lies about me, Oscar?
I'm trying to explain that it's the pressure she puts on me, Aurora. She expects me to be this high-powered executive, rolling in dough and dripping with success. If I can't live up to her expectations, I don't know what she'll do. I'm scared of her, Aurora. That's why I just happened to blurt that stuff out about owning your company. I wanted to impress her, make her think I had finally made it.
I didn't need that long of an explanation. I pretty much assumed that that was the reason anyway. But there's more, isn't there? Don't you dare try to play innocent with me, Oscar.
Huh? What do you mean?
You told her that I'm a worthless wife, that my parents are poor, and that I refuse to work even though you want me to, didn't you? Your mom practically spat those words at me. You said that to her about the woman you love?
I didn't mean anything I said, Aurora. But in front of my mom, I had no choice but to say those things. You know how she gets if she doesn't hear what she wants to hear. She's a tornado of criticism wrapped in a Chanel suit. And I just wanted to keep the peace.
I can't believe this. You're so scared of making your mom angry that you throw your own wife under the bus like yesterday's trash. That's not just insane, Oscar. That's weak. Are you telling me you haven't grown a backbone at all since we got married? Weren't you supposed to be an adult by now?
Shut up! Don't talk to me like that. If I had to choose between losing my wife or losing the person who raised me my whole life, I would choose my wife. But that's not the point here. And you do come from a hardworking family. Your parents may not have had a lot of money, but they instilled strong values in you, and that's for sure. Values that your fancy job and college degree could never buy. So maybe you didn't graduate from some Ivy League school, but you built a successful company from the ground up. That's more than most people can say.
Then you tell me which one of us employing the other's so-called worthless ass. Because last time I checked, I'm the one signing your paycheck, Oscar. Or have you forgotten that already? Seems like your money is as faulty as your morals.
Wait! Hold on a minute. If you fire me, how am I supposed to live? You can't just throw me out in the street like yesterday's news.
I don't care. Figure that out for yourself, Oscar. You're a grown man. It's high time you started acting like one.
Wait! This isn't what's supposed to happen. I already promised my mom I was going to divorce you. I swear it wasn't my idea. She's been talking about it for months ever since I told her you were my boss. She said it wouldn't be proper for me to be under a woman's thumb. So I was gonna live in the house with the house I bought her. A little retirement gift, you know?
What? Are you serious? A house? For your mom? Oscar, what have you gotten yourself into?
If I lose my job, how am I supposed to pay for the house? I was barely going to be able to make the payments with my job. I've already signed the divorce papers and had sent them to the house by registered mail. They'll be arriving first thing tomorrow morning. You can have anything you want in the divorce. Just please, don't fire me.
You've what? You mean you actually bought that house you've been talking about wanting? For you and her? You've been planning this divorce for that long? So you decided to divorce me. You bought a house for you and your mom to live in, and then you signed and sent me divorce papers. All without even speaking to me first?
I wouldn't say I decided it so much as my mom decided it for me.
So you're telling me if I fire you, it's going to cause serious problems for both you and your mom? You won't be able to make payments on the house you bought for you and her. And therefore, there's the chance neither of you would have a place to live.
It's not that there's a chance, it's for sure. If I can't make the payments, the bank will take back the house. And my mom has already moved out of her old apartment. My dad died years ago and my mom doesn't have much of an income. She barely has any of Dad's money left, and her family has pretty much all passed away too. She was planning on relying on you and I to help her out.
You and I? I doubt that's what you mean. I think what you meant to say was she planned on relying on me. Because of all the money you make comes from me. But I understand the situation. Let me think about it for a bit.
I'm begging you, please think about my future before you decide anything. Otherwise, I won't be able to live.
Of course. I'll think about the future and make my decision.
Have you decided to go ahead with the divorce yet? How long are you going to make us wait for your decision? My bridge club has been buzzing about it all week, and frankly, it's getting embarrassing not knowing the official outcome.
Yeah, I talked to Oscar all about it yesterday. Let's just say the conversation wasn't exactly pleasant. But after everything that's happened, I'll have you know that I've decided to divorce him. Even though I feel a little sorry for him. He seems completely lost without me calling the shots.
You feel sorry for Oscar? That's rich coming from you. You should be more worried about yourself, honey. You were the one who married my son for his money. Everybody knows that. Don't think you could pull the wool over my eyes. But he told me you two signed a prenup before you got married, so smart move on your part, I guess. So I know you won't be getting any of his money. And once you sign those divorce papers, I really don't care what you do. But I suggest the first thing you do is get out of our sight and get out of Oscar's life. Because you've caused enough trouble already.
Yeah, we did sign a prenup. A very good decision, considering the kind of person I was apparently married to.
I know you're not. Stop pretending like you're devastated to be losing all my son's money. You were living the high life, whining and dining on his dime. Now it's all coming crashing down around you.
I guess your son hasn't told you yet, huh? Maybe he's a little too embarrassed to admit the truth?
Told me what? Don't play coy with me, Aurora. Spit it out.
That it's my company. I'm the CEO. He works for me, not the other way around.
Huh? There must be some mistake. Oscar's been working so hard on launching his new startup. He's been talking about it nonstop for months.
That startup business that you think Oscar has? It's not his. That's my business. The owner isn't Oscar. It's me. I was employing Oscar. I was paying his wages, the car he drives, the fancy clothes on his back. All of it.
What? If you're gonna lie to me, at least make it a believable one. Oscar wouldn't let himself be bossed around by some woman, especially his wife.
The only one making up unbelievable lies is Oscar. Except that I see you actually did believe them, huh? It seems your precious son is a better actor than I give him credit for. Oscar is so scared of you that he says whatever he thinks you want to hear, so you won't get angry at him. If you don't believe me, just ask him yourself.
You're telling the truth, aren't you? The way you talk about the company, the way you talk about Oscar acts so sheepish around you lately, it all makes sense now.
Yeah, it's 100% true. So with this prenup and how I filled out the divorce papers, Oscar won't be getting a cent from me. That means I don't lose a thing, and Oscar loses absolutely everything. He'll be back to square one, living in his mom's basement.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm sorry, I misunderstood everything. Let's call off the divorce. Don't submit those divorce papers, okay? We could just pretend like this never happened.
No, I'm going ahead with the divorce. The damage is done. I have no intentions of stopping now.
Huh? But didn't you just say you felt a little sorry for Oscar?
I did feel a little sorry for him, but not enough that I want to call off the divorce and continue being his wife and employer. And I'm definitely not against getting you out of my life either. You may not have pulled the trigger on the divorce, but you certainly put the gun in his hand.
But wait, I don't understand. You went ahead with the divorce because we sent you divorce papers? If I had known the truth, I never would have...
That's right. I wasn't looking for a divorce. We had a life together and plans for the future. But then all this happened. This whole charade Oscar spun about his career, your constant judgment, it became suffocating. I'm divorcing Oscar. I'm ridding myself of that web of lies and manipulation. And yes, by extension, I'm ridding myself of his equally manipulative mama. Consider it a 2-for-1 deal.
Whatever. Honestly, the feeling's mutual. You were never good enough for Oscar anyway. But listen closely, honey, because I'll only say it once. We're keeping this house Oscar just bought for me. It's in my name, not yours. And as long as I have this roof over my head, I'll be just fine.
Oh, did I forget to mention another little detail in this grand scheme of yours? I'm also firing Oscar. Effective immediately.
So? What's your point? If you're throwing him out on the streets marriage-wise, it makes sense you'd throw him out of a job too. You wouldn't want to work with your soon-to-be ex, would you?
Did you misunderstand what I said? I said I'm firing Oscar. I terminated his employment. Are you so surprised at your own son's lack of competence that you think this is just some formality?
Like I said, I understand that he'll be out of a job, but I'm not worried about that. My son's very smart, and he's an excellent worker. He'll find another job in no time. He always lands on his feet.
That's rich coming from you. Excellent worker? Oscar co-spy on charm and a fake smile. He wouldn't know hard work if it bit him in the perfectly manicured behind. If I were you, I'd be really worried about him making those house payments on his own, especially without a job and a soon-to-be ex-wife with a hefty bank account.
What do you mean he isn't an excellent worker? He's my son. Of course he is. Besides, those house payments will be fine. We planned ahead.
Planned ahead? Honey, there's no amount of planning that can fix financial delusion. Oscar doesn't own that house he bought you. Think about it. I mean, I own a really successful business, and even I can't afford to pay for a house all up front. Oscar bought that house because he got a loan from the bank. That's how most houses are bought, Josie. He told me it was only a 10-year mortgage with a super high interest rate because of his less than stellar credit score. So he conveniently left out of that conversation. So those monthly payments are going to be high. How is he, jobless and soon to be homeless, going to pay for them, huh?
Well, I still have a little bit of savings left, I guess, but not enough to cover those payments for long. What have I gotten myself into?
When I spoke to Oscar, He said you didn't have much left from when your husband died, and that you don't have much income either. In fact, I think he said you decided to move out of the apartment you were living in because you couldn't afford the rent on it anymore, right? Isn't that why he bought you a house?
Well,
I think I know what happened. I think you wanted to move in with Oscar and me so you could live for free. But then the thought of moving in with a daughter-in-law you hated so much made you sick to your stomach. So you convinced your son to leave me and buy a new house for you two to live in. Isn't that right? But you had no idea all his money was coming from me. I think you were trying even harder than usual to piss me off lately, weren't you? Just to get me to go along with the divorce faster, huh? None of this is really going to affect me much. But I think Oscar losing his job is going to be pretty devastating for you, huh?
how could this happen? How could a woman from a poor family do something like this to us? You're from a below-average family with a below-average education. You're low class. You're a loser.
And whose son was being employed by that low-class loser? You can call me a loser if you want, but are you really looking at both of our situations when you call me a loser?
Shut up. My family's high class. We're from a long line of high-class people. My father's important, and our lives have meaning.
Are you saying my life doesn't have meaning?
You're from a family of losers. Stop trying to think you're anything but that. Fire Oscar if you want. Then get out of our lives forever. I'll make sure Oscar finds a woman of much higher class this time. I'll make sure he never gets involved with another poor woman like you.
I am from a poor family. I never finished college and I started working full-time when I was 19. But I saved up my money and started teaching myself. I studied harder than most people who do go to college. And by the time I was 25, I had started my own business. Now, that business does more than $3 million in sales each year, and it's still growing. Do you really think your son is going to be able to find a higher class woman than me?
Well, anyone who would brag about themselves like that isn't clearly a woman of high class.
And a woman who would call me a loser after I've so clearly won and she has so clearly lost is obviously just jealous. And to look down your nose on someone just because their parents aren't well off, someone like that isn't even worth my time. Keep living your high-class, meaningful life as you struggle to pay your mortgage, just like most of lower-class America.
Shut up.
What's wrong? Is that all you have to say now? Well, enjoy your new house and enjoy your mortgage.
Fine, I'll apologize. I'm sorry, I was wrong. Please don't divorce my son because of me. I promise Oscar and I will both treat with respect from now on. Please?
No thanks. Not interested.
Wait, don't do this to us. We're going to lose our house if you go through with this.
But according to you, Oscar is really smart and a great worker. He'll have a new job in no time, right?
But there's no way he'll be able to find another job that pays enough to cover the monthly expenses on our house. And all of our other expenses?
Yeah, I know that. Especially because Oscar isn't very smart, and he's not a good worker. He graduated college, but I'm honestly baffled as to how. He's not too bright. It was hard enough for me trying to find a job at my company that he could actually do. It wouldn't surprise me if he failed a job interview for a dishwasher or a fry cook.
How dare you talk about my son like that?
I wasn't talking bad, just simply stating facts. If I were you, I'd try to sell that house that you just bought and buy a used van to live in. After that, Oscar moved into the new house with his mom. Needless to say, it didn't last long. Oscar tried to find a new job, but he couldn't get a good recommendation from me. And he had no real talent, so his interviews didn't go well. As the months went by, the unpaid mortgage bill started piling up, and they were forced to put the house up for sale. After losing their house, the two were forced to leave the city. They found a cheap little apartment far out in the country, and the two started living there. The two still had quite a load of dads, even after selling their house, and they both had to take multiple part-time jobs to scrape by. I don't know why they insisted on calling themselves high class and calling me the loser. They seem to be struggling just like most people. But what do I know? Maybe they're eating high-class macaroni and cheese for dinner or something. What I do know is, even after the divorce was finalized, Oscar would message me every now and then trying to get back together with me. But I got tired of it very quickly and ended up just blocking his number. After that, I have no idea what happened to either of them. But as far as I know, Oscar is still living with his mom, the only woman he truly loves, so I guess it is a happy ending for him.